So, good afternoon to one and all, a respected resource person for this afternoon session has joined our cloud meeting, Dr. Varadraj Bapat, CA, CWA, DISC, PhD from IIT Bombay, and currently working as a professor in SJM School of Management, IIT Bombay. Dr. C.A. Varadraj Bapat has obtained professional qualification in Chartered Accountancy with All India rank, Cost Accountancy and Information System Audit before obtaining PhD from IIT Bombay. Has consulting and teaching experience of 28 years. He has many research papers in high impact factor journal to his credit and has done numerous research projects. He has authored six books published by a reputed publisher including McGraw-Hill's, and he has given many popular online courses. His area of research include accounting, financial inclusion, bankruptcy prediction, corporate governance, family business, portfolio management, spiritual yoga, Indian economic management model. He is an expert member of Project Approval Board of Central Sponsored Scheme of Pradhan Mantri Uच्च Shikshar Shiksha Abhiyan PM Usha, and also he is a member of Board of Governance of IIT Guwahati. He spent the team at Parekar Center of Investment, Cornell University, USA. He is a member of All India Board of Management Study, AICT, NAC peer team member, MHRD, Autonomy team and Board of Governance of NIT Manipur. Offered many popular MOOC, many invited talks and training programs for reputed institutions and companies, large number of recorded videos on YouTube, NPTEL, advisor to Akhil Bharati Vidyarthi Parishad and many other NGOs. So indeed, it is really a pleasure and honor for all of us to have our respected guest here, Dr. Bapat sir. So again, I welcome him on behalf of UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, and I would now hand over the session to him. Today, he will deliver a talk on Indian knowledge system. Over to you, sir.
Namaste everyone. Am I audible as well as visible properly?
Yes sir, आप audible भी हैं, आप visible भी हैं, और पार्टिसिपेंट का हमने माइक क्लोज किया है सर. उसका रीजन ये है कि लेक्चर में थोड़ा डिस्टरबेंस आ जाता है अगर किसी का माइक खुला रह जाता है तो वो चैट में आपसे कुछ सवाल पूछ सकते हैं अगर उन्हें पूछना है तो सर.
ओके.
वो अपने माइक अनम्यूट नहीं कर पाएंगे सर.
गुड. Shall we start? Participants have joined.
जी सर, आप स्टार्ट करिए. सर थोड़ा एक बाहर गए काम से, और आपको जब ब्रेक लेना है आप बीच में ब्रेक लेकर बाद में फिर से कंटिन्यू कर सकते हो और आप कंक्लूड कर देना सर आपके हिसाब से.
करेक्ट.
एक ब्रेक में आपको 2 लेक्चर लेने हैं.
राइट. Namaste everyone. Thanks to the organizers. Thanks to MHRD for inviting me for the session. And it is indeed my honor to interact with you, to discuss with you. And we will be discussing on Indian knowledge system. As you are aware, one of the focus areas of national education policy is NEP. And I've been informed that this is an interdisciplinary program and you are all across different faculties. So we'll be discussing initially in general about NEP, why we should discuss it, why we should teach it, why we should research it, and so on. And in the later part of the lecture, maybe after the break, we will also talk about a little more about NEP in economics, commerce, management, which is more of my domain. Because as per NEP, one is expected to have syllabus of both the types, also the core NEP or the general NEP followed by specific NEP. So we would like to discuss both the things and I'll be very happy to interact with you. So please feel free to ask questions or even give your comments. As sir said, as of now, they have muted everyone, which is fine, but please don't hesitate to ask questions on chat. And then if required, we can even open the regular thing. So I can see a few chats here. Yeah, so I think roll numbers, everybody is putting up. That's great. So I'll just share my PPT. Yeah. Are you able to see my PPT?
Yes, sir. We are
Okay.
able.
And is it moving? Because कभी कभी क्या होता है move नहीं
नहीं,
होता
फुल
है.
स्क्रीन नहीं हुआ है सर. बापट सर, फुल स्क्रीन नहीं हुआ है उसका. वो 83% के बाजू का स्लाइड शो करना पड़ेगा सर आपको नीचे से.
Yeah. Is it full screen now?
नो सर, नॉट येट. हाँ, नाउ इट इज, नाउ इट इज.
Now it is right. And is it moving?
यस, संस्कृतम पिक्चर्स आर शोइंग. हाँ,
हाँ
नाउ नाउ
ठीक है जो
नाउ
भी है
हाँ. यस
वो
यस,
मूव हो
नीट.
जाए.
जी जी जी.
Okay, so we'll talk about Bharatiya knowledge system. As I said, this is not going to be a monologue. I'll be very happy to trying to respond to your questions and also happy to receive your comments. So please feel to talk on chat. So first of all, what is the need to study Indian knowledge system? What is the scope? Then different domains, including archaeology, culture, philosophy. And in the later part, as I said, we'll talk mainly about economic, commerce, finance, and so on. So as we all know, Bharatiya knowledge system is being taught or studied first time perhaps after 1000 years. So our culture and our nation has a very long tradition of learning. And when other cultures or other nations were not having higher education, we used to have a very strong tradition of higher education. But during invasions, all that was lost. And today, hardly do we discuss or do we research on it. And it is being brought back through NEP. So I have written a shloka there. Anu Bhadra Krutva Yantu Vishwataha. So what is the meaning of this? Can you try? Some of you may be aware. So please put on the chat कि इसका मीनिंग क्या है. अनुभद्रा कृत्वा यंतु विश्वतः. कोई ट्राई कर रहा है? आई थिंक विश्वतः मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल अंडरस्टैंड. ओके, गुड ट्राई. आई थिंक बाय अमर कुरिल. Well-being of the universe by Vijay ji. Very good. Any further improvement? जैसे हिंदू में हम लोग बोलते हैं ना आनो, यानी आने दो. That is only the meaning, that let the thoughts come from everywhere in the world. Vishwataha world, you understand. So one of the permanent slogans of our culture is we are open to all thoughts all over the world. We are not exclusivist. Yeah, good answer by Nitika ji. Let noble thoughts come from everywhere. Very good. This is the answer. Bhadra means Kalyan Karak, noble. So noble thoughts, we are always open. And that is a uniqueness of our culture, that we don't say that what is ours is the only correct thing. We say that we are open to all the thoughts, let thoughts flow from everywhere. Whatever is relevant, whatever is time tested, we'll keep it. And that is why we are called as Sanatan. Sanatan means evergreen. We are willing to change every time and we are refreshed, we are new. So that is the, in some sense, we can say it's a slogan of Bharatiya culture. And this picture gives various types of knowledge which we have that includes design or architecture, it includes medicine, it includes Sanskritam or language and very systematic Devanagari Lipi, which we had, and so on. There are many things, dance, art forms, sciences, which are integral part of Bharatiya culture. So we'll start with this. What is the meaning of Bharat? We know that the traditional name of our nation is Bharat. उसके बाद में लोग उसको हिंदुस्तान बोलने लगे, उसके बाद में जब वेस्टर्नर्स आए उसको इंडिया बोलने लगे, बट द ओरिजिनल नेम इज भारत. सो उसका मीनिंग क्या है? व्हाट डू यू अंडरस्टैंड बाय भारत? सो एनीवन वांट्स टू ट्राई कि भारत का अर्थ क्या है? बहुत सारे अर्थ है, आपको कुछ स्टोरीज भी पता होगी, दैट ऑल्सो यू कैन ट्राई. Okay, one of the kings in Mahabharat period, or perhaps even older than that. Okay, very good answer by Amish Joseph. I assume that I am pronouncing your name correctly. But Amish ji has very rightly said that one who is in search of knowledge. Any other responses? Right, that one pursues light. विठल पाटिल जी ने बहुत अच्छा रिस्पॉन्ड किया है, दैट भा मीन्स आभा, ज्योति, प्रकाश या ज्ञान. सो भा physically speaking means light, and at an intellectual level it refers to knowledge और ज्ञान. एंड रत में जो लगा हुआ, जिसको इंटरेस्ट है, अभी भी हम हिंदी में ये वर्ड यूज करते हैं कि जो किसमें आप रत हो मीन्स इंटरेस्टेड हो. सो भा मीन्स इट इज अ नेशन विच इज इंटरेस्टेड इन नॉलेज, जो सदैव ज्ञान रूपी ज्योति या धारा में रत हो. बहुत ही अच्छा रिस्पॉन्स आपने दिया है विठल पाटिल जी एंड इवन अमीश जी. एंड अदर रिस्पॉन्सेस आर ऑल्सो करेक्ट, दैट yeah, it is one of the Sanskrit words and it is a name of the king Bharat, who was ancestor to Rama. So, and he belonged to uh, Sun dynasty, etc. But what really catches our mind is the meaning that we are a nation which is interested in, which is involved in, which is engaged in knowledge dissemination. So we are interested in creating knowledge and also giving it back. As I said, for last 1,000 years, perhaps वो ज्ञान परंपरा कुछ खंडित हो गई. We were controlled by foreigners and we lost our knowledge. But now we are independent and we are again sort of coming back, moving
Maybe a resource person has been disconnected. Just we will call him to rejoin.
Yes, sir. आपको host है sir. You can unmute them sir. Bapat sir. सर अनम्यूट कीजिए. आपका माइक म्यूट है सर.
Namaste, namaste.
Yes,
Am
sir.
I audible
Yes.
now?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yeah. Sorry, I lost. Actually, my computer suddenly got stopped. So हम लोग यहाँ बात कर रहे थे कि ज्ञान परंपरा खंडित हो गई और एक्चुअली भी हमारी परंपरा खंडित हो गई. Yeah, is it coming again? Are you able to
Yes, sir.
see?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Great, great. Okay, so we were talking that now we are reclaiming the knowledge system after a very long time. And we know that our culture is the oldest culture in the world which has survived. So it is very important, not just for us, even for the whole world. So these are the features of our knowledge system. This is the oldest tradition because we know that there are other cultures like Mesopotamia or Egyptian culture or Roman culture. They are all lost. And India is the only continuing culture in that sense. And our culture has a strong scientific basis. Most of whatever we follow, practice, had some or other reason, and reasoning was allowed, and based on the reason we are practicing. And as we talked earlier, this is evergreen or Sanatan because we are open to new thoughts. So we kept on upgrading it always. And even today, we are open to upgrades. That's why it's a evergreen type of thought. And it is an inclusive tradition. So as we saw in the beginning, we don't say that only ours is a correct. We say that there let good thoughts come from everywhere. We are willing to include all thoughts from all sources of knowledge. So it's an inclusive tradition. And we are trying to reclaim our own heritage, but it's not just for our benefit. It is basically for the whole humanity. I think you would have heard about this turmeric case. So in 1995, a patent was filed in US for the use of turmeric for wound healing. We know that traditionally, most of the people in India know the great properties of turmeric. हल्दी का उपयोग हमारे यहाँ सबके लिए किया जाता था as a medicine also as a cosmetic, as a dye, and also as a spice. But unfortunately, it was not well documented, and US Patent Office in 1995 granted patent for use of turmeric. And after that, what happened? Anyone knows? Anyone is aware about this turmeric case? Did we fought back? Could we get the patent revoked? Right, Amar Kuril ji ने अच्छा लिखा है कि we could get it back under the leadership of Dr. Mashelkar. Any further details? Yes, Ritika Joshi ji ने भी सही आंसर दिया है. So as you can see now on the screen, there was a paper published in 1953 in the Journal of Indian Medical Association, which spoke about advantages of turmeric. So CSIR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, filed a re-examination case with USPTO, and after studying the evidence, USPTO revoked the license in 1997. This is a landmark judgment because a patent based on traditional knowledge was successfully challenged. Otherwise, we could not have used our own haldi. Of course, maybe we could have used at home, but it could not be used for any other company for cosmetic as well as for commercial purposes. But that particular patent was revoked. And that was possible, remember, because there was a published paper, at least one paper. Actually, it is known for lakhs of or crores of people. But luckily, there was one paper because of which it could be challenged. Similarly, there was a patent on neem. So anyone is aware about neem case? Yeah, I'm just seeing. Yeah, good number of you have answered about Mashelkar ji's contribution, and that is on turmeric. But neem ke bare mein anyone is aware? As we all know, that neem is also known to Indians for thousands of or lakhs of years, and it has anti-pest and antifungal properties. And these seeds also have medicinal properties to cure cold and flu, and also for relieving certain skin diseases, malaria, and so on. Now in 94, that is actually, this is before neem, European Patent Office granted a patent to US corporation W.R. Grace Company, and that was particularly for antifungal properties of neem. So extract of neem oil was patented by that company, and only they could use neem because of this. Now, how was this revoked? Anyone knows? Yes, good responses by Amar Kuril ji. So see, this was slightly difficult to fight. So group of international NGOs and representatives of Indian farmers filed a legal case to oppose the patent, and they submitted the evidence that antifungal properties of neem are known and used for several centuries, and EPO revoked the patent in May 2000. Remember, it's a long fight. They had to fight for 6 years, and it was again challenged by the company. The revocation was challenged, but finally in 2006, European Patent Office rejected the challenge to revocation, and that patent was cancelled. In this case, there were not many research papers, so that became a difficult fight compared to case of Haldi. So the point I'm trying to make is there are so many things which as Indians we know, there is a lot of evidence, there is a lot of knowledge, but there is not much of documented evidence. So it is very important that we document our knowledge, we publish it, and then others won't be able to misuse it or take patent on it. Then there are also examples of yoga. You are aware that International Yoga Day was announced, and after that, sizable awareness has been developed about yoga. When was International Yoga Day officially announced and accepted and followed in the world? 21st June, आशा जी और अमर जी ने सही लिखा है. That is in fact the biggest day, longest day we can say, 21st June. But from which year it is being celebrated? Correct. Sapna Yeshi ji, this is 2015, first time celebrated. Vittal Patil also has rightly, Professor Vittal Patil has also rightly responded. So remember, after Modi ji became Prime Minister, he proposed it in UNO, and this is a historical day because almost all countries accepted the proposal in a very small time, in just 3 months. And now Yoga Day is being celebrated, and globally it is accepted that this is an Indian knowledge. But prior to that, there were several attempts made to patent many knowledge or many parts of yoga. One of the examples is asanas. So several yogic postures were patented, saying that this is a posture we have developed, say for back pain, this is a posture for this is a posture for that, and only we can use it. Like that, certain companies had attempted to patent. Then there were also attempts to patent pranayam and various systems of pranayam, and also various systems of dhyan. But post this yoga day, it is now difficult because it's known world over. Again, I'm giving example that how important it is for us to put our knowledge in front of the whole world. We'll go to one more example. This is more on a management or on a commerce side. So we all know that there are several models of motivation which are taught to students, especially in management and commerce. So can somebody name some models of motivation which you might be studying or you would have studied? Yeah, anyone remembers? See, there are many models of motivation which are taught in the class or which are there in management textbooks. So can you name a few models? Okay, expectancy theory and incentives. Good answer by Amish Tosefji. Anyone else? Okay, positive and negative motivation. Any theories of motivation? There is a theory called as Maslow's need hierarchy, or there is a Hertzberg two-factor theory. So there are some Western theories of motivation. Yeah, Jayaji as well as Jayashri Manthale has rightly answered. So most of the theories proposed as of now are Western in nature. And as was rightly pointed out by Amish ji, these are mostly incentive-based theories. So if you perform and you perform well, then you get incentive. You get motivated to perform even better. So next time you would perform better and you would get a better reward, a bigger reward. That's how most of the motivation models operate. Now the problem is for those who are not successful or who are not above the mean or above the average performance, what will happen to them? Because they have no motivation, they won't get any incentive. In fact, they would get demotivated. So as per the Western principle, they follow the principle of survival of the fittest, perform or perish. So such person should be crushed and thrown down. But in reality, such persons cannot be thrown out of the system, and normally they pull down other persons. They pull others' legs because they can't perform well. They try to pull down others' performance. I think most of you would have observed in sometimes in your organization that such people exist, and current motivation models cannot motivate them. But I think you would have heard of Karma Yoga. This is a very famous concept, normally considered as one which is taught in Gita. So I have put it now on the website, on the slide, that it says Karmanyeva Dikarasye Ma Faleshu Kadachana Ma Karma Fala Heturbu Mate Sangosta Karmani. So what is the meaning of this? What does this shloka tells you? वैसे स्लाइड में मीनिंग भी लिखा हुआ है, but you also would have studied, so you can add the meaning of this. Okay, Amar Purilji has started well. That work is only in your hand and without expecting any incentive, do your work by Asha ji. Very good. Treat work as duty by Amar ji. Anyone else wants to add anything? Very good. By Anuradha ji, that your work is your worship. So perform it religiously, perform it as your duty. Focus on actions. Very good response by Ritika ji. Focus on actions rather than results. So as Shloka says, कर्मण्येवा अधिकारस्य, हमारा जो अधिकार है or what is our duty is to perform work properly, do our karma. And we do not have any control over the outcome. Outcome normally अच्छा होगा, वो कभी कभी बुरा भी हो सकता है. So don't become karma phala heturbu. So don't work for the sake of outcome. Of course, फिर क्वेश्चन ये आता है कि आउटकम नहीं देखना है तो why should I work? So it says that we should work for our own satisfaction. Do only that work which gives you satisfaction. So as you do the work, don't think of the result. Good answer by Sapna ji also. Many times what happens is when a human being is performing, उसका आधा ध्यान होता है कि उसका रिजल्ट आएगा कि नहीं आएगा कि नहीं आएगा कि नहीं. What कर्म योग says is आपका पूरा ध्यान काम पे लगाइए, कर्म पर आपका पूरा फोकस रखिए and results will follow. Results are guaranteed. Sometimes they would come immediately, sometimes they would come after some time. But don't look at the results. Just focus on your work. And जो last part है वो क्या बताता है? Last part says that Mate Sangosto Karmani. What is that telling? Correct. Shikha Sharma ji has also answered well that karma hi adhikar hai. But last part में क्या बोला गया है? That आलसी मत बनिए. Don't be attached to inaction also. So focus on action. Don't look at results. So लोग बोलेंगे जाने दो, result तो ऐसे जो आएगा आएगा. I should not do the work. It is saying that don't do it. Completely focus on your work and do not be attached to inaction also. So in short, most of you have answered very well. And this is a traditional knowledge which we all have. But unfortunately, it is not well documented. जो मैनेजमेंट में मोटिवेशन थियरीज पढ़ाई जाती है वहां पे कर्मयोग नहीं पढ़ाया जाता. So one of my students, his name is Ajinkya, actually took this as his PhD work and he presented Karma Yoga as a motivation model. It was published in many top journals and today he is professor in one of the leading IIMs. So my point is, again, I'm just giving you an example that this is a knowledge which is known, but it's not well documented. जब तक ये document नहीं होगा, अच्छे journals में नहीं छपेगा, it won't come to the textbooks. So it's a long process. Firstly, we'll have to do research, get it published. We will also get credit for coming out with new concepts. Then slowly, it will come in syllabus. So we have to work on both the fields, one on research side and also on the research for developing the knowledge, testing the knowledge, and also on the teaching side by developing a suitable syllabus. Fine. Like that, we can go on and on with many examples, but we'll stop here and we'll go little more on what is all there in the knowledge system. ये स्लाइड में और थोड़े आप डिटेल्स देख सकते हैं कर्मयोग के, but most of you have really answered well. And remember, this model of motivation is much better than incentive based models. क्योंकि इंसेंटिव बेस्ड मॉडल सिर्फ दे ओनली टेक केयर ऑफ सक्सेसफुल पीपल एंड मोर देन हाफ ऑफ द पीपल आर नॉट सो ग्रेटली सक्सेसफुल एंड दे बिकम डिसगर्टल, वो अनहैप्पी हो जाते हैं। कई बार उससे बहुत सारे मेंटल प्रॉब्लम्स भी डेवलप होते हैं बिकॉज दोज पीपल वो दे गो इनटू अ काइंड ऑफ निराशा। उससे और ज्यादा साइकोलॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम्स भी हो सकते हैं। आइदर दे हार्म द परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द सिस्टम ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन और दे मे हार्म देमसेल्व्स। But the Karma Yoga model of motivation, because we are working not for fruits, we are working for satisfaction. It takes care of both successful people as well as those who are not so successful. This is about traditional knowledge digital library. Today, government has created such a library for Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, Yoga, and other areas, particularly on sciences side, so that our traditional knowledge should not be attempted to be patented by others. So Indian Patent Office has also offering today now the facility of prior search to avoid any such patent granting. And this is a website of Intellectual Property India. Yeah, so these were some of the examples. Now going back little more about our knowledge systems, we know that we are on attack by foreigners for almost 1000 years. Whether it is Arabs, Afghans, Mughals, Britishers, they all attempted to destroy our culture. Particularly during British time, they introduced an act known as Indian Education Act 1835. And the target was to develop Indians who would be Indians in blood and color, but English in tests, opinions, morals, and intellect. So who was the person presented it? Anyone knows the name? क्योंकि वो नेम काफी फेमस है, आप में से कई लोगों को पता होगा. ये इंडियन एजुकेशन एक्ट किसने प्रेजेंट किया था और उनके नाम से ये जाना जाता है? Remember, it was presented in British Parliament, approved there, and then that policy was introduced in Bharat as a modern education policy. किसको याद है? You would have surely heard that name. जानबूझ के मैंने स्लाइड में नहीं लिखा है. Okay, so as you can see here, target was to create servants to the empire. उनको ऐसे लोग चाहिए थे जो क्लर्क्स बने, जो एग्जैक्टली ब्रिटिश रूल को फॉलो करे. फॉर दैट they wanted people who would look like Indians, who are Indian by their color and blood, but their tests are English. So they would assume that anything which Britishers tell is great. Their morals are English. जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि गोरे लोगों ने जो भी कहा वो अच्छा है, भले उनकी लैंग्वेज हो, इंग्लिश में अगर कुछ कहा गया तो वो ग्रेट है, वही अगर हिंदी में या किसी भारतीय भाषा में बोला गया तो उसकी कोई वैल्यू नहीं. इफ एनी थियरी कम्स फ्रॉम अब्रॉड, it is accepted. If somebody goes abroad and present a paper, then that person is considered great. And then everybody in the introduction also tells that this particular person was invited or has visited abroad. Now, this is the inferiority complex which British put into our minds. This is 75 years of our independence. Still, we have that inferiority complex. And that was not accidental. It was created by the design. So this educational system which British gave us destroyed our Gurukul-based systems. It destroyed our madrasas. and then they imposed on us their education system so that काले अंग्रेज ऐसा बोलते हैं, यानी काले यानी जो इंडियंस दिखते हैं लेकिन थॉट प्रोसेस में अंग्रेज है, एंड टू सम एक्सटेंट वी आर ऑल काले अंग्रेज, वी आर ऑल ब्रिटिश इन आवर प्रोसेस। या बहुत भाषणबाजी हो गई। किसी को नाम याद आ रहा है? एनीवन? नोबडी हैज सो फार रिस्पोंडेड। ओके, या नहीं, मैंने देखा नहीं था। यस, एक दो लोगों के आंसर्स है। I am not sure about William Bentinck, but he was Macaulay. He presented minutes known as Macaulay's Minutes, and he presented this Indian Education Act in the British Parliament. And I think William Bentinck also had some role in the implementation of that policy. But the point is, our current education system essentially, this Amar Kurilji has given a very good answer: to create clerks for Britishers. So Macaulay was the first person, and then there will be many British officers who did it. But the point is, not much changes were done even after independence. And NEP अभी थोड़ा कुछ changes ला रहा है, and one of that is an initiative to bring in Indian knowledge systems. So we'll all have to put a lot of efforts because we have not studied it, but we need to study it and teach it to our students. So you can see here some picture, and this shows importance of preserving the cultural heritage. Okay, Anish ji has given good answer. So role of William Bentinck was also there. Both Macaulay and Bentinck, and of course there were many other British officers as well. Okay, ये जो picture दिखता है वो कहाँ का है? Anyone remembers it? Yeah, Amar Kurilji is right. This is the, anyone else also trying? Correct. This is from Bamiyan in Afghanistan. Anuj ji, Mahesh ji have also responded. So this was a great statue of Buddha, which was destroyed by Taliban. In which year? Anyone knows? So when Afghanistan came in control of Taliban, actually they destroyed this. And this is not in the Middle Ages. This is in 2000s. So you can understand the mentality of attackers. Actually, thousands and lakhs of murtis have been destroyed in Bharat. Our structures were destroyed, our mandirs were destroyed, our universities and schools were destroyed. So there is always an attempt to destroy the cultural heritage whenever invaders get an opportunity. But remember, it is not just the tangible heritage. Murti या मंदिर या university आप देख सकते हैं, but intangible heritage is also being attacked. We'll just come to it. So there is a need to claim back our systems, our art, our culture, and so on. So you can see here that there is a tangible element of heritage. For example, there are immovable heritage like historical buildings or monuments or archaeological sites. And there is movable heritage like paintings, sculptures, etc. But so you can see this getting destroyed. But perhaps more harmful is a destruction of intangible cultural heritage, which includes our oral traditions, which include our sciences, which includes our traditional skills, our habits. It could be yoga, it could be commercial practices, it could be economics, it could be various techniques. So both type of heritage is very important, and a lot of study is required actually to claim it back. Yeah. Now in this slide, yeah, Amar Puril ji has rightly said immobile heritage also includes biodiversity and forests. Very true. This is not necessarily human made, but it is preserved because of culture. So you might be, and incidentally, tomorrow is a Buddha Purnima. You can see here ancient Indian calendar. So right now, we are using the calendars which is brought in by the Britishers. But much, much older than that, we have ancient Indian calendar. So anyone is aware what calendar which we use now, who brought in that calendar and when did it become popular, etc.? Actually, answer is also there in this slide that this is, though we normally call it English calendar, it is basically a Gregorian calendar, which was introduced by Pope Gregory in 1592. And he imposed it on Catholic countries. Then almost for 250 years, Protestant countries were not willing to accept it, including England. And only by end of 17th century, they accepted it. Prior to that, they had a Julian calendar. So when British came to India, they were in Julian calendar. After that, they moved to Gregorian calendar. That is one which we use now. But my point is much, much, much ancient than that. Thousands of years ago, we have got Indian calendar, and we know that ours is a lunar calendar. But it also has a solar element. So can you tell any festival which comes by lunar and any festival which comes by solar? Because we have got lot of festivals by both the calendars and lot of variety all over the India. Okay, Pongal, but by lunar or by solar? Ritika ji says Makar Sankranti, correct. Both Makar Sankranti and Pongal are essentially by solar calendar. And lunar calendar, हमारे कौन से फेस्टिवल्स या कौन से डेज है जो लूनर कैलेंडर से आते हैं? करेक्ट, होली है, अभी अभी अक्षय तृतीया हो गई, कल बुद्ध पूर्णिमा है, दैट इज ऑल्सो लूनर कैलेंडर. In fact, as Jaya ji has rightly said, for that matter, any Purnima is as per Buddha, as per the lunar calendar. Then Ganesh Chaturthi, so it is a lunar calendar. So my point is, our calendar, Ram Navami, Dashera, and our New Year, which could be Gudi Padwa, Ugadi, it can be by solar also in case of Tamil Nadu or Bengal and so on. So our calendar, which is known as Pancham, has both the components, lunar plus solar plus nakshatras. So there are 5 angas. So I won't go to too many details, but my point is this shows the strong scientific basis which we have, and there are so many things to study and learn. This is much, much more advanced than what calendar we are using now, because we can tell exact time of rising of sun, moon, setting of sun, moon, time of eclipse, and so on, as per Bharatiya Panchanga system. Yeah, we'll go ahead in the interest of time. There are actually many more things to tell. So you can see here Ashok edicts. So this is in Brahmi scripts, one of the very, very old script, much older than Devanagari script, which we use now. This is at Sarnath. And this is essentially a part of Indus Saraswati script. Then you can see old Brahmi Lipi. Then we know that Bharat had a very old tradition of cities. So we have got Varanasi, we have Ujjain, Nalanda, Rameshwaram, and so on. So it was not just villages, even we have cities which are existing there for literally for thousands of years. Then what do you see here in the pictures? What are all these items? Okay, good responses by Amar ji, then Shailaja ji, Ritika ji. These are all spices for which British visited India, right? So you can see that all these spices have a great medicinal properties and they were made part of our diet. So we are not taking it as a medicine. We are consuming it along with our food. That's the beauty of our culture. अलग से आपको मेडिसिन लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. If you take proper भारतीय diet, you will automatically remain healthy. So science is a part and parcel of our day-to-day living. Then you can see there, you know that there are legends, there are proverbs, music, song. So we have a very long oral tradition, and Rigveda is perhaps one of the oldest literary work by any human being, and many more such work exists. There are so many art forms like Madhubani, like Warli in Western India or Tanjore, and it's there in both in tribal, rural, as well as in urban India. Then there are so many old dance forms like Bharatnatyam or Odissi and so on. So the whole system of Natya Shastra itself is thousands of years old, which includes dance, which includes acting, music, and so on. Then you can see some historical monuments here. So they are from where? कोई बता सकता है? Yeah, half of my job you are all doing. Very good students, good answers. So Ranjay ji, Aisha ji, Vinita ji, they have all rightly noted it as Elora. Anyone can tell what is the speciality of Elora? The picture on the right, you're right. What is the speciality of Elora? Yeah, Ritika ji is right. This is Kailash temple. What is its special feature? Hetu, Yeah, you are right. This whole temple complex is actually carved from a single stone, from top to bottom. So you can imagine the level of architecture. There were no computers, but even in those times, they could visualize what they want to do. And then from top to bottom, went on carving it. So all these elephants, the whole of Mandir, everything is carved from top to down. So you can imagine the level of architecture, engineering, especially civil engineering, which has gone into it. And yeah, Amarji is right. The other picture you see is Ajanta caves. So what is the specialty of this Ajanta caves? The specialty is about the paintings. It's thousands of years ago, natural colors, and they have lasted so long. So many forms like that are actually there everywhere in the world. I know that in many other states, you will find many such sculptures, paintings, mandirs, and so on. But just a few things I showed that shows the level of talent we had both in engineering and also on the designing side. So Indian knowledge system is actually has all these components, whether it is in social identity, whether it's medicine, education, health, well-being, creative industries, agriculture, sustainable consumerism, and so on. There are so many things to research as well as study in ICAS. Then we know that we have one of the oldest languages like Prakrit, Tamil, Pali, Sanskrit, and so on. And our Lipi, that is Devanagari Lipi, is one of the most scientific Lipis because it is phonetic and we can practically express almost all sounds in the form of a particular letter. Then I have shown a few shlokas here. I know there are thousands of shlokas, but I think these four shlokas carry the essence of Bharatiya Gyan Parampara. So first one is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramaya. So what is the meaning of this? Sab sukhi rahe, everybody should be happy, right? Sukhi rahe और nirogi bhi rahe. I think this has been, Ravindra Thakurji has also rightly responded that let all be happy and healthy. So this is, I think, the goal of Bharatiya Sanskriti, that we would like to see everyone is happy. ऐसा नहीं कि only we should be happy and we'll become happy by seeing others unhappy. We want all should be happy, and हमारा जो सुख है, हमारा happiness is in fact dependent on happiness of others. Very good. Next one is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. ये क्या बताता है? What is this telling? Yeah, what is the meaning Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam? Yes, very good responses from many of you. I would request all of you to respond that Mother Earth is a one single family by Anuradha ji. Then helping others, all world is one family. विठल पाटिल जी ने अच्छा कहा है विश्व एक परिवार है. Whole world is our home. Caring and sharing हे विश्वची माझे घर बाय वाळू पंढरेची. Very good. So this is the base of our thought process. And remember, our ancestors visualized it thousands or lakhs of years ago. जब एक गांव से दूसरे गांव तक जाना भी डिफिकल्ट था, आज हम लोग एटलीस्ट प्लेन लेके एक देश से दूसरी जगह से जा सकते हैं, लेकिन तब तो एक गांव से दूसरी गांव जाना भी डिफिकल्ट था. Even at that time, they did not say that only we are brothers, only Indians are brothers, etc. They said that the whole world is one family. You remember recently ये लोगो भी था. कौन से एक्टिविटी का लोगो था याद आ रहा है किसको? वसुधैव कुटुंबकम. अमर कुरिल जी ने अच्छा आइटम किया है कि ह्यूमैनिटी फॉर ऑल, in fact, including even animals. So they are part of our family. Yeah. Good number of you have responded that this was the slogan or a logo for G20, which Bharat recently hosted. And we had kept it as a slogan that this is not only strategic reasons के लिए हम दूसरे के साथ अच्छी बात कर रहे हैं. We sincerely believe that the whole world is one family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Next is Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. इसका क्या मीनिंग है? G20 काफी लोगों ने सही उत्तर दिया है. That's very nice. Okay, सपना येशी जी ने सही कहा है that God is one, but we call it by different names. Always speak the truth. Anything else? एकम सत means सत्य एक ही है. And what is Vipra Bahuda Vadanti? Okay, I know many of us do not know exact answer, but see, we are part of that culture, so we know it. Thoda hum, we try, we can actually get the meaning, and a good number of you are trying very well. People call it by different names, you are right. So essentially the truth is one. Satya, Sat, ek hi hai. Vipra means people who have wisdom. जो विद्वान लोग हैं, they call it by different name. Bahuda means variety of ways they express that truth. So a single truth, Vanita ji has also rightly said that truth is one, but people interpret it in different ways. And this is a base why we respect all cultures, we respect all religions. because we say that it is a single truth. विभिन्न धर्म में, विभिन्न संस्कृतियों में अलग अलग वे से उसको एक्सप्रेस किया जा सकता है, एंड वी कंसिडर इट एज अ ट्रूथ. दैट्स व्हाई वी रिस्पेक्ट एवरीवन, एंड वी नो दैट भारत में सभी धर्म के प्राचीन से प्राचीन लोग हैं, whether it is Christianity, whether it is Parsis, whether it is Muslims, all the ancient people of whenever they were persecuted anywhere in the world, they have come to Bharat and they were given, not just they were allowed to live, but they were given a lot of respect. That's a part of our Sanskriti. Okay, last one. Of course, there can be many more, but जो मैंने लिखा है उसमें last one है कृण्वन्तो विश्वम आर्यम. ये क्या है? Anyone wants to try? विश्व तो सभी जानते हैं, सो कृण्वन्तो विश्वम आर्यम. Yeah, Rutika ji has responded well. Make the world noble. Anyone else is also trying? So Krunvanto means karna. We want to make the world noble. So by Aryam means cultured, noble, good people. So our goal of our Sanskriti, our culture is to make everyone good, everyone noble. Britishers, of course, put in lot of myths. Like आर्य कुछ बाहर से आए थे, आर्यन द्रविड फाइट हुआ, Aryan invasion theory, they have all been debunked. They have all been disproved now by sciences. Our culture essentially says that we are Aryans, we are noble people. We want everybody to be like that. सभी को अच्छा बनाने के लिए, कल्याणकारक बनाने के लिए हम लोग काम करते हैं. So yeah, Anuradha ji has also said that do away with bad habits so that good culture prevails. And not just in our nation, everywhere in the world. Okay, so we'll move ahead. Thanks, good responses by many of you. ऐसे बहुत सारे श्लोक बताए जा सकते हैं, but I thought these four shlokas kind of carry essence, and we can take this to students because well-being of everyone is what is the motto of Bharatiya Sanskriti. So these are some more details like whether it is just living for survival or living for fulfillment. Our Sanskriti doesn't only stop at physical facility. It goes beyond to relationship. In fact, it goes even beyond to continuous fulfillment. That is in the form of right understanding, understanding the truth, living in harmony with love and compassion. Remember, materialistic cultures just believe in developing physical facility, but that is not enough for happiness and fulfillment. We need relationships. We also need continuous fulfillment in the form of bliss, in the form of peace, in the form of satisfaction, in the form of enlightenment, independence, self-actualization, and so on. So human effort is always on that path. And Bharatiya culture sincerely believes that and forms a system for taking us ahead. So this is a holistic and humane knowledge system. Though it is a Bharatiya system, it's not just for Indians. It's meant for everybody in the world. So this is about our samskaras in the form of developing a humane worldview, human values, human conduct, and so on. So we know that Bharat is bestowed with lot of architectural archaeological sites. There are Paleolithic archaeological sites which are as old as 25 lakh years ago. And I hope you would have heard about Bhimbetka near Bhopal, or there are Pahargams caves near Morena. But there are also sites near Chennai or Son near Haryana and so on. So that shows a long, very long culture, and they have a continuity with Paleolithic to Mesolithic sites. And there are large number of Mesolithic sites. Normally, their dating is from 250,000 to 10,000 BC, and they include Anangpur caves near Faridabad, Mangarbani caves near Gurugram. Then there are also Neolithic sites which are around 10,000 to 3,300 BC. They include Meherganj, and there are also marine archaeological sites. You know that recently Modi ji visited Bet Dwarka. So whether it is in Gulf of Kambayat or near coastal side of Maharashtra in Konkan region, then in Kuggal petrographs. So you would see that culture is found everywhere in all parts of Bharat, right from Himalayas up to Tamil Nadu, then on eastern side, Assam and Nagaland, and so on. So again, here you see a continuous culture. And remember that ours is an inhabited, densely inhabited country. It's not like somewhere near North Pole where something can be found there for 20,000 years. क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ continuous constructions होते हैं, renovation होता है. Despite that, so many archaeological sites are found. Yeah. Now this is a very famous piece of archaeology. ये कहाँ का है, किसको पता है? ये स्मिता शैलजा जोशी जी ने बहुत अच्छा उत्तर दिया था. संपूर्ण विश्वाला सुसंस्कृत करूया. Okay. From where is this archaeological piece? आपने कहीं टेक्स्ट बुक्स में वगैरह देखा होगा. Normally, yeah, anyone is trying? Correct. This is Mahesh and Ravindra had said this is normally called as a Harappan civilization because initially Britishers found it near Harappa, and then they call it, Harshadaji has rightly said, then they call it Indus Valley. And what is its more modern name? Of course, Harappa and Indus is also correct, but now newer and newer sites are being found. So nowadays it's various king, right? Nowadays it's called as Sindhu Saraswati Sanskruti, Indus, but it's not just Indus, it's more on eastern side of Indus. It's from Indus to Saraswati. So we know that this was the initial site. You can see here Indus River, and there is also lost Saraswati River. So you know that, have you heard of Lothal? This Lothal is in Gujarat. What is there at Lothal? Anyone knows? Because earlier what was found was in Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, etc., which is in today's Pakistan. But many more sites were found on the eastern side of it. So in Gujarat, you have got Lothal. What is Lothal? Anyone knows? You can see here in the map. So we have perhaps the longest platform, a human-made harbor, which is around 3,000 to 5,000 years old. That is there at Lothal. And then Yeah, any other sites you have heard of in this Indus Saraswati Valley? Very recently found site is at Rakhi Gadi in Haryana, जहां पे कि घोड़े, पुराने रथ, ऐसे बहुत सारे items मिले हैं. And there are so many sites in Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, Gujarat, and so on. So, and we have also found lot of evidences of continuous culture. You can see here a few things here. A proper architecture, town planning is what is found there. Then you can see old Yagyashalas. So there is a continuous culture. Then these are the coins and trading seals and also cultural symbols. You are right, Lothal is a port. Earlier it used to be called Harappan. So it's a vast part. So you can see here horses hai, bulls hai, hathi hai. So lot of cultural symbols. And we used to have currency right from thousands of years ago. ऐसा नहीं है कि only barter exchange used to happen. And on the currency, you can see there are writings in Brahmi scripts. There are writings in Greek also, because a lot of trade used to happen from India to Europe to Arabia and so on. There are also evidences that wheel technology was well known for thousands of years ago. Then these are standard weights and they are in the ratio of 1:16. So like in the metric system, we have in the ratio of 1:10. This is in the ratio of 1:16. But standard weights and measures were used even in those days. Then this is the cotton. We know that Bharat was the first country to cultivate cotton. In fact, we gave the world clothes. Prior to that, clothes were hardly used. Then these are the great bath tanks. We know that स्नान करना हमारे संस्कृति की विशेषता है for purification of body and soul. So we used to have common bath tanks there. This is a humpback bull, that is Nandi, which you can see there. This is also found there, the priest or meditating in a yogic pose to be one with Brahman. So again, a lot of continuity of culture is found there. Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the responses from you. Yeah. So what we can see here is, I know कि बहुत सारे और sites भी है आपके states में भी होंगे. In fact, they are also there in other parts of the world, whether it's in Egyptian culture or Mesopotamian or Europe and so on. But as far as Bharat is concerned, we see a lot of continuity and there is a need to study this Bharatiya knowledge system or Bharatiya knowledge. And so many myths have been spread around it, which we should forget or we should keep aside, that it is all mythology or it is only religious, it's not scientific, it is irrelevant, or it is extinct, it's too difficult, it's a communal agenda, or it's a glorification of past. I think these are all wrong things or myths. In reality, this is highly scientific. It's very relevant even in today, and that part we should study. And it's very important for us as Indians that we revive our culture. In fact, we are giving back the great humanity-based culture to whole world. So there are global opportunities which are going to open based on this and so on. We'll just go ahead faster in the interest of time. I'll share this PPT with you. So right now I'm going a bit fast. We know that we had a very, very long system of education in Bharat. And you can see one shloka here. It says, Ahara Nidra Bhayamaitunancha Samanya Metam Pashubhir Narana Dharmo hi Tesham Adhiko Visheshaha Dharmena Hina Pashubhir Samana. So we used to believe in knowledge, we used to believe in dharma. Otherwise, there is no difference between humans and animals. Because ahar, that is seeking food, seeking sleep, seeking sex, and fear is common between human beings and animals. But it is taking care, distributing knowledge or dharma. That is a specialty of human beings. So I'll just go ahead a bit faster. So we know that there are 4 Vedas. There are 6 Vedangas. Vedangas include Vyakaran or grammar. It includes Kalpa. It includes Shiksha or science of phonetics. It includes Jyotish, that is astronomy and astrology and so on. Then there are 4 Upavedas, which are more into worldly affairs. They include Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, which is a science of warfare, Gandharva Veda, arts, music, and so on. Then there are so many kalas like Arthashastra or Stapatya Veda, town planning, Vastu Shastra, and so on. Then we also have Puranas. Puranas are essentially case studies. So Vedas have basic shlokas or sutras. How to bring it in practice is brought in by Puranas. We also have documented Itihasa in the form of Ramayana and Mahabharata. Then there are Dharma Shastras or law books, also known as Smruti Granthas like Manusmruti or Yagyavalkya Smruti. So these are ancient law books and they have laid down very important principles of law which were practiced in those days, trying to create a human and just society. Then there is a very detailed Darshan Shastra or philosophy in India. So normally there are so many darshanas which include Nyaya Darshan, Vaisheshika Darshan, and Sankhya Darshan, Yoga Darshan, Mimamsa, Vedanta. Then there is Jain Darshan, Bauddha Darshan, Charvak Darshan. I'm sorry, in the interest of time, मैं थोड़ा fast आगे जा रहा हूँ. But हमारे भारतीय परंपरा में बहुत डिटेल में फिलोसॉफी की स्टडी हुई है to make human beings happy, and it is spread all over भारत. जो ऋग्वेद में लिखा है उसका ही लगभग भाषांतर, a very similar type of text you will find by Kurul, which is written by Thiruvelluvar in Tamil and also in other Bharatiya languages. So knowledge domain is very vast. It includes mathematics, astronomy, chemistry, metallurgy, civil engineering, including irrigation technology, mechanics, medicine, health, well-being, ancient shipping, architecture, plant and animal, anatomy, logic, darshanas, public administration, economics, law, yoga, and management. Of course, the list is unending, but it is desirable. You all are experts in different fields. That you take up your area, look at the scriptures in the ancient time. We can link, take the useful knowledge to the current time. I'll just go ahead in the interest of time. Then there are BKS methods, which include scientific methods. There are ancient Tantra Yuktis, Tarka Shastra or logic, and Vijnan Buddhi. There are 36 Tantra Yuktis, which are prescribed by ancient scriptures. Then there are Pramanas or means of knowledge. We know that Pratyaksha Praman, which is a perception, both internal and external. Then there is Anumana, which is inference. Shabda Praman, Upama Praman or comparison, अर्थापत्ति एंड अनुपलब्धि ऐसे बहुत सारे प्रमाण हैं because we had a very scientific and a very long tradition of knowledge, and there are so many references I have tried to give in today's time. On the net you have a Dharma Wiki. This is a website created by IIT Bombay which gives authentic information on this. Yeah. Any questions, comments by anyone? Yeah, Charvaka Darshan, you are right. And somebody has responded on Mexico City. Exactly kya hai, I'm not getting. See, in our culture, there is a reference to Maya culture. And that Mayan culture in Mexico and our culture has lot of similarities. Unfortunately, there is not much of continuity in those countries, whether it is in Mexico or Egypt or in Europe and so on. But comparatively, much more is preserved in Bharat. A very important question raised by Amarji. I'm happy that he's raising it. Are we going back? How will it help to get the jobs? I know, difficult question to answer. Firstly, remember we are reclaiming the culture. As I said, whether it is Haldi or whether it is Neem, whether it is management practices, unless we document, we research it, our culture will be stolen by others. Because it is useful, they are taking patent on it. If it would not have been useful, why should world take patents? So definitely, not part of it is useful. Not 100% of it is very useful. Because technology has changed now. Times have changed. We are not at all arguing or should believe that everything in those times we should use now. Lot of useful things are there. We need to firstly study. We need to research. In fact, from the beginning, I think I'm stressing on that you are experts in different domains. आपके डोमेन में, आपके नॉलेज एरिया में कुछ तो एंशिएंट स्क्रिप्चर्स होंगे, ग्रंथ होंगे, बुक्स होंगे. We need to read it. We need to look at it in today's context. Take important concepts from them, research on them, and then whatever is useful, we should practice. It is going to be definitely giving lot of jobs because the world is looking at new concepts today. This is a time where mechanical jobs, lot of things are done. But if something special we are going to give, definitely it is going to attract attention of the world. Then it all depends on how much effort each area puts in. One of the successful examples is yoga or Ayurveda, and I'm sure in other fields also useful knowledge can be brought in. Any other questions? Okay. In which fruitful ways can universities implement IKS? As of now, NEP is expecting us to bring it in the teaching. One also as a core IKS, which will be common for all. And then subject specific or domain specific IKS. Like for example, people of chemistry will read Rasa Shastra, which is an ancient chemistry in India. People of metallurgy can read our ancient metallurgical engineering, or aerospace can read Viman Shastra and so on. Commerce and economics people can read Arthashastra. So respective areas can bring in their own IKS. And then as teachers, as researchers, these are very interesting concepts. I hope you know that in management, lot of Japanese concepts are today talked about. whether it is Six Sigma or such things, or Chinese concepts are coming in. So there is a lot of scope for Indian concepts presented, and we should come out with a top level publications, so that one, we get good publications. Second, our ancient knowledge is being properly placed to the whole world. It's being documented well. Yeah. Any other questions, comments? Okay, we are discussing from 2:30, so 1.5 hour is over. It's 4:05. So we'll take a 10 minutes break. We'll start at 4:15. Fine. Your questions can continue. We will continue post the break. In between, also put your questions in the chat. I'll be very happy to not definitely answer, but I'll try to answer, because it's a long concept, very difficult to answer all questions. But please put the questions you have, whichever questions you have in mind. Namaste. We'll stop here. We'll restart at 4:50. Dhanyavad. So namaste all. We'll start in 1 or 2 minutes. Please rejoin. Are you back? Shall we restart? Okay, so Ritika ji is back and many more. Shall we start now? Great. So thanks to the whole group, very good responses from you. That is what is making the session interesting. There is a question by who was that person? Anuradha Penseji on how to adopt IKS in microbiology. Frankly, I'm also not very sure as far as subject related IKS is concerned. I think you will have to read the respective textbooks. I'm not so good on it. And Ritika ji has said that guide us about Rasa Shastra. So there are many good learnings in ancient chemistry from that. But again, see, our ancient scriptures were integrated in nature. So in the same book, you would find a lot of subjects. Now, somebody who has learned that subject, I think, has to read it from their angle. Then you can extract that knowledge. You won't get a specific book on a particular subject. From a college common knowledge source, we have to extract the knowledge. Okay, Amar Puril ji has raised a very good question that is it not for school education? Yes, it is definitely for school education. But remember that these sciences or these forms are not just at school level. School level is a elementary. There is a lot of learning at higher education level because now the students have become matured and teachers would be able to do research. So it is very important that Bharatiya knowledge system is there at a higher education level as well, especially the common VKs. And as far as the subject specific is concerned, I think respective teachers will have to do more research to identify the learnings in that particular subject. In fact, in this part of session, we will go into commerce management, which is more of my domain. Okay, I have put up a slide here which says that what can I do with reference to ICAS? So you can see here, preserve the original traditions. So remember, there are 3 million manuscripts which are not even looked up. Only 10% have been accessed and read. So there is lot of knowledge which was destroyed by invaders, but what is preserved is also not accessed by most of us. So one thing which all of us can do is try and go and read the original manuscripts. Then we'll have to do the research, collaborate with industry. Because as somebody had asked, not everything is going to be useful today. Some elements of that can be used, those principles can be used, and then that knowledge we have to bring out to the world, then design and develop courses in various subjects. And of course, as we become so good, so knowledgeable in BKS, we can then train the teachers to put forth the BKS properly. Okay, we discussed about Vedas, Upavedas, Vedangas, and so on. In relatively modern times, there are 3 great philosophers, Shankaracharya, Ramanuja, and Madhvacharya, and they have put up important philosophies. And there are great Indian saints in almost all parts of Bharat. So they have also given learnings which can also be included in IK studies. Then there are certain myths which are spread about Bharatiya culture. We know we have seen that invaders wanted to subdue us, keep our culture down, make a feeling of subordination in our mind, make a feeling that we are inferior, and that's why they introduced certain things. One of the important concepts which they brought in was Aryan invasion theory. And now Max Muller, who was the proponent of it, after a few years, he himself stated that this theory was baseless. It's not a scientific theory. And today there are a lot of proofs which show that actually noble people or Aryans were Bharatiyas, Indians. They went abroad, they went to Europe, they went to Arabia, they went to Mesopotamia, they went to Central Asia, and there was no invasion at all. In fact, we went there to spread our knowledge. We did not invaded them either, but we just spreaded our knowledge. And there are many such myths which we need to destroy. Second, lot of myth about casteism. We know that caste word itself is a Portuguese term. There was no word like caste in Bharat. There were varnas, there were jatis, and they were essentially merit based. They were not birth based. But later on, the system kind of got perverted, and especially during invasions, it got further perverted. But these are used to malign Indian culture. And the third one is about killings in Indian history. There is a very good research done by one famous professor from University of Hawaii, and he has documented killings in all parts of world, not just in Bharat. And there, his name is Professor Ramal. If you look at the Ramal's index of killing, you will realize that Bharat was the most peaceful country. We used to practice dharma yuddhas. So even if there is a war, normally civilian areas were kept out of it, and women were not attacked, people were not enslaved, and as less killings as possible in Indian history, and worst killings in other parts of India. But again, unnecessarily, Indian culture is defamed or India is debranded. Of course, we need to do a lot of research to bring out more truth to the whole world. Yeah, any comments from your side? I'm just reading your chat for your comments. So we'll move ahead again in the interest of time, but keep asking your questions. So now we'll come to more of economic and commerce and management related topic, which is more of my study area. We have been researching and teaching in IIT for last 12 years. So before going for more details about Indian economic thought, we know that capitalism and communism are the major economic thoughts studied all over the world. Capitalism came around 1780 or in the beginning of 18th century. And that brought in a lot of extraction. It created a lot of problems. So as a challenge to that, communism was presented. Communism was adopted by many countries, but again, it proved to be a big failure. So by 1990s, communism was thrown out and we moved back to capitalism. We, in a sense, not just Bharat, the whole world. But again, the problems of capitalism like inequality or destruction of nature continue. So the whole world is trying to look at the third way. So before going or studying that, let us try to look at the world economic history. Now, this table shows the share of world GDP from 00 to 1998. This is an outcome of a study done by a famous economist who is known as Angus Madison. So this study was instituted by OECD Development Center Studies. So OECD means G7 countries, Organization of Economically Developed Countries. In 2004, they felt that let us study world history for last 2000 years. So they brought up with this chart, and I hope you can see the table. So table very clearly shows that in year 00, India had as much as 33% share of world GDP. Even up to 1000, we had 28.9% share of world GDP. And from that period, we were invaded by Arabs, Afghans, then Mughals, and so on. And slowly our share declined, but still it was around 25% in 1700. But it is during British time, our share really went down from 25% to just 4% in 1950. So poverty was unknown in India, and it is during that period that India became poor country. Otherwise, for a very long period, as far as this chart table is concerned, this is a period of 1700 years out of 2000 years. India was #1 country in the world in terms of GDP. And only during British period we went down. If you look at China, more or less similar part, China was number two culture. If you look at Western Europe, actually their share rose because of colonialism. They looted colonies, they transferred funds from colonies and they became rich. And as far as US is concerned, the share of US really rose during First and Second World War. So this is the net summary. Yeah, any questions, comments on this? So this is the same thing in a form of a graph. So we can say that India is essentially not a story from rags to riches. We were always the economic empire and we are trying to re-establish ourselves. And Western economies, in fact, are dependent on inflows from outside. Earlier, it was colonialism. Then US received a lot of money because of their military. And in recent times, it is more of debt funds, loans which they are taking. You may feel as researchers that these figures are overstated. We are Indians, so मैं थोड़ा बड़ा चढ़ा के बता रहा हूँ, but actually it's not so. In fact, Angus Madison was very much biased. He has mentioned also in his report that how can a third world country like India have standard of living on par with Europeans? So actually, he has understated those figures. And there is an Angus Madison study 2018 which says that figures for India and China are approximately understated by two-thirds. So these figures are not overstated. I have not readjusted. This is what he has given. But in reality, the figures were even better. And there are other studies also by Paul Byrock, who has studied world industrialization and has stated that India was the most industrialized country since the ancient times to 1700. And there are also studies by Indians, for example, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, then by Dadabhai Nauroji and so on, who have also corroborated this. So this is not overstated at all. We always had a very, very lasting, sustainable, and a very, very rich culture in the world. Yeah. Yeah. Any questions, comments from anyone? Yeah, good comments by Amar Puril ji that yes, we lag in discoveries today, and that's where we need to study IKS more. And Bharat as Sone ki Chiriya, especially invaders said it because they knew that India is the richest country. That's why whether it is a Western Asian invaders or Europeans, they were on a lookout for Bharat because we were the richest culture. Okay, we'll go ahead a bit to discuss about Indian economic thought. I have tried to put in some points here, Western versus Indian thought. Western thought is mostly materialistic, whereas Indian thought is holistic in nature. Western thought is comfort oriented. See, everybody wants to increase happiness, but for increasing happiness, they are trying to add to comforts, whereas ours is a bliss oriented. It's more sustainable and a complete happiness. Then Western is more individualistic and ours is more collectivist. Western is competition oriented. Ours is more of a cooperation oriented. On a lighter note, I think many of you would have seen the movie Three Idiots. Do you remember? Have you seen that movie? Good number of you, I think, would have seen the movie. उस मूवी के शुरू शुरू में ही एक सीन है, एक डायलॉग है some professor is telling something to the student. Yeah, just do you remember who is that professor and what is he telling? I know अभी काफी साल हो गए, but it was a very famous movie and with a very good message. So few of you, do you remember? उस सीन का कुछ, there is some learning for us from that. कुछ याद आ रहा है कौन है प्रोफेसर एंड व्हाट इज ही टेलिंग टू द स्टूडेंट्स? वो उनके कॉलेज का शुरू का एक सेशन है, वेयर इन द इनॉग्रल सेशन द डायरेक्टर इज टेलिंग समथिंग. सो यू रिमेंबर दैट? Okay, I'll give you a hint. That professor was known as Virus, Professor Viru Sahasrabudhe. Yeah, a few people are responding. Three Idiots, right? Story of Noel Bird, perfect, Jayaji. So what is that story? What is he trying to tell? Yeah, Shailaja Joshi ji has rightly said that he is telling about competition. So what he is telling is, अगर आपको लाइफ में सक्सेसफुल होना है, अगर आपको आगे बढ़ना है, दूसरे को कुचल करके आपको जाना पड़ेगा. Though he is an Indian professor, what he is telling is essentially the Western understanding, that it is the survival of the fittest. दूसरे को कुचल डालो, then only you can move ahead. कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड में यही होता है, कंपनीज भी यही करते हैं, इंडिविजुअल्स भी यही करते हैं. Whereas Indian understanding is more of cooperation, more of going together with each other, about the team spirit. I know even Westerners today talk about team spirit, but essentially their original methodological individualism जो बोलते हैं, that's competition oriented, whereas ours is a cooperation oriented. यहाँ पे और एक पॉइंट है, इंडिविजुअलिज्म वर्सेस कलेक्टिविज्म. उसके लिए उबंटू करके प्रिंसिपल बोला जाता है. सो एनीवन हैज हर्ड अबाउट उबंटू? और उसका एक फेमस वीडियो भी है. सो एनीवन नोज उबंटू? एक वेस्टर्न सोशियोलॉजिस्ट थे. ही वेंट टू अफ्रीका एंड टू स्मॉल चिल्ड्रन, उन्होंने उनको एक, या रितिका जी हैज रिस्पोंडेड करेक्टली, ही वेंट टू अफ्रीका एंड he gave a tokery of fruits, a basket full of fruits, and it was kept at a distance. और बच्चों को ये बोला गया कि 1 2 3 बोलने के बाद you should run, and whoever is a winner will get the basket full of fruits. So the sociologist का ये expectation था कि one who is the fittest, थोड़े जो बड़े एज के बच्चे थे, they would run and they would win the award. But actually all the kids put their hands together, they collectively ran और सबने मिलके award जीता. So this Western professor was surprised. He asked them, especially जो तगड़े बच्चे थे उनको, कि why you did not run? तब उन्होंने जो आंसर दिया, they said that how can we enjoy without our friends? Got it? How can we enjoy without our friend? That is the collectivist feeling. I think that's the essence of Bharatiya culture. It's the essence of all native cultures. Same thing is in that Africa, or same thing we will find anywhere in the world. But Western culture जो है वो greed based है. That's individualistic culture, and that's the main difference. Fine. So yeah, Anish ji has responded well that Darwin says about survival of the fittest, but that is more on a for plants and animals. Unfortunately, that is also being imposed on human society today. Anyway, so this was in nutshell. इसका ही थोड़ा और डिटेल्स यहाँ पे बताया गया है. Western versus Indian culture, you can see here. So Western is about compartmentalized thinking. Indian is about integral thinking. One of the key areas of NEP is doing away with faculty segmentation. We know that our current system, which is more or less a Western system, is segments our departments and faculties. We hardly do any interdisciplinary research. Whereas all our ancient scriptures, जो मैं पहले भी बता रहा था आपको, कि a single book will have all the subjects because of the integral thinking. Then Western societies are right oriented. So who will take care of elders? They say that elders have a right to be taken care. So उनका अगर care नहीं लिया गया तो they would file a complaint, they would go to court. Whereas भारतीय संस्कृति जो है वो duty oriented है. They say, we say that it is the duty of children to take care of mother and father. Remember, दोनों का इफेक्ट एक ही है, but right is something you are extracting. Duty is something which you are giving on your own. In Western system, man, deliberately मैंने man बोला है क्योंकि वो manly societies है, is viewed as a mere material being. Whereas Indian system में it's a human being which is not just physical. It's physical, mental, psychological, intellectual, and spiritual. So it's a whole scale, a kind of all-round human beings that we consider. Western culture talks about exploitation of nature. So आपको अगर piece of land मिल गया है, जल्दी से जल्दी जितना फास्ट उसके नेचुरल रिसोर्सेस एक्सट्रैक्ट कर सकते हो करो, वहां के सारे पेड़ डिस्ट्रॉय करो. That's why what they did, wherever they went as invaders, as colonizers, they tried to destroy and extract the nature. Indian culture is about milking the mother nature. So it says that yes, you can take, but you should only take as much as you need. Don't try to destroy the whole resource. So theirs is a comfort oriented, ours is a peace oriented. We have already discussed it. So you would have heard of 4 Purusharthas. In Indian system, we have got Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So Artha is about earning money. Kama is about fulfilling our desires. Western systems are around only these 2 Purusharthas. That earn money, spend it on yourself. Try to increase your satisfaction by fulfilling the desires. In Indian system, these Artha and Kama is there, but it is within the boundary of Dharma and Moksha. Remember, Dharma is not religion. Dharma says that you give back to society, take care of others, and ultimately, if you perform your Dharma, that is your duties, earn money, also fulfill your desires, you would go to Moksha, wherein you will go above the material world. So there are many points, but I have tried to summarize. Yeah, any questions or, yeah, one more point I can say, I think Western world is about obsessive consumption. Jitna consumption बढ़ा सकते हो, बढ़ाते जाओ. Just because you have money, you should consume everything. Whereas Bharatiya system is about restrained consumption. So we should consume, but consume within the limit. Fine. I think many points I have told. Yeah. Any questions, comments on this? Western system is more on wage employment. Everybody wants a job. Ours is more towards self-employment. This is more a Western system is centralized. This one is a decentralized system. Okay, we'll go ahead if there are no questions. So we know that in our, I'm just trying to tell a few references from scriptures कि जो मैंने Indian points बताए वो कहाँ से आए हैं. So Indian economic thought or business thought, as you can call it, we know that as a part of Ugved, we have got Shri Sukta. So we worship Lakshmi. She is the goddess of wealth and prosperity. So prosperity was revered, worshipped, it was given importance. But it says Lakshmi Anapagamini. मैं पूरे श्लोक नहीं बता रहा हूं, just a part of it. That means that we want money, we want prosperity, but one which does not take us down. So we don't want money from unethical means. और एक है जो बताता है मनस काममा कुतिम वाच सत्यमशिमहि. काम, आई थिंक यू अंडरस्टैंड, काम इज अ डिजायर. मन में जो डिजायर आते हैं, वी वांट टू फुलफिल देम, बट वी वांट टू मूव ऑन अ पाथ ऑफ सत्य. सो सत्य को छोड़ के या एथिकल पाथ को छोड़ के वी डोंट वांट फुलफिलमेंट ऑफ डिजायर्स. ऐसा इसका इसेंस है. देन फ्रॉम उपनिषद्स, there is a Upanishad called Isha Upanishad. ईशोपनिषद का पहला ही श्लोक बोलता है ईशावास्यमिदं सर्वम यत्किंच जगत्याम जगत. दैट मीन्स पूर्ण जगत जो है वो ईशा ने, परमेश्वर ने व्याप्त है. ये थोड़ा स्पिरिचुअल पार्ट है. सेकंड बोलता है कि तेन त्यक्तेन भुंजीता. दैट मीन्स you can enjoy the whole world, but उसका त्याग करके भोग करो. Don't just take everything for yourself. You should give back, renounce, give back to the society, and then you enjoy. And last part says, Ma gruda kasyasvid dhanam. Gruda means chori karna. Don't lust for or don't try to take other people's money. So this is again important concepts from Indian financial thought. Then there is a shloka in Bhagavad Mahapuran. Bhagavad Mahapuran और Bhagavad सप्ताह बहुत जगह पे होते हैं. People just think it's a religious text, but actually there are a lot of learnings for sociology, for politics, for economics, and so on. Particularly, you can see here that it says that the income should be divided into 5 parts. 20% is for dharma-oriented needs, means give back to the society. 20% is contingency, 20% is for flourishment of business. That means this 40% should be invested in long term. And last 2 parts are for livelihood and well-being of family. So we should spend not more than 40%. 40% we should reinvest and 20% we should give back. If we follow this, then it is called as a Shubha Labh, क्योंकि ये sustainable earning possible होगा. Western system में 80-90% spending किया जाता है, whereas our society even today saves nearly 30% of our earnings, because more or less we follow this Indian culture. So ऐसे कई सारे learnings हमारे scriptures में हैं. I hope this picture is visible to you. थोड़ा सा graphics इसमें है, जिसको यज्ञ बोलते हैं. It's a cycle of sustenance. It's not just some fire or something. It says that you can see here 2 things, Vyashti and Samashti. Vyashti means smaller entity, individual. Samashti is a bigger entity. We as individuals, जब हम छोटे होते हैं, कुटुंब से, हमारे फैमिली से हमारा केयर लिया जाता है. That's called as Yogakshema. So we get Yogakshema from our family. When we grow up, we have to give back our karma. We have to take care of our family. उसका हमें reward मिलता है in the form of karma phala. This is also true from family to society, because society से हमारे family को योगक्षेम मिलता है. As we grow up, we have to give back our karma to society. Remember, it's our duty to give back, not for reward. But society rewards us in the form of karma phala. and then we have to give it back in the form of yajna. ऐसा अगर give and take होते रहा तो it is a sustainable cycle of continuous richness, and that is true for all levels of yashtis and samashtis. Then there are many learnings in Jain philosophy, ethics. Then Santa Kabir ji, Santa Tukaram, Thiruvelluvar, he has written a book of Porul. इस सभी में more or less यही इसेंस है. जो लोग महाराष्ट्रियन हैं, संत तुकाराम जी का एक वचन शायद आपको पता होगा. वो बताते हैं कि जोडोनिया धन उत्तम व्यवहारे उदास विचारे वेच करी. दैट मीन्स ये नहीं बोल रहे कि आप धन मत कमाओ, आप धन कमाओ. सो जोडोनिया मीन्स यस यू एक्यूमुलेट द वेल्थ, बट उत्तम विचार है, by following proper विचार, by following ethical means. एंड सेकेंड पार्ट बोलता है कि उदास विचारे वेच करी. वेच करना मीन्स स्पेंड करना, खर्चा करना. सो व्हेन यू आर स्पेंडिंग, don't spend unnecessarily. Spend only when it is required, and rest of the money you can save or give back to the society. ऐसे सारे संतों ने मोरलेस यही बोला है, जो हमारे भारतीय इकोनॉमिक विचारधारा का बेस. Yeah, some comment is there, so I'm just reading. Okay. One more uniqueness of our culture is, from a very ancient time, thousands of years, there is a permission for borrowing and banking. And there is an emphasis on dana and ethics. You know that in most of the Western religions, whether it is a Judaism, Christianity, or Islam, there is a ban on interest, or there are some restrictions on it. Whereas in India, economic activity or banking was always encouraged, and lot of emphasis, lot of rules and regulations were also there right from Smriti times on it. And whatever we earn, we should give back to the society. Then coming to a few thinkers, first one is, whatever books we are available today is, the oldest one is from Chanakya. So he wrote two famous books. One is Arthashastra, other is Chanakya Niti, which stresses importance of public finance. He was a strategic thinker, governance. He spoke about welfare state, regulation, accounting, audit, and so on. बहुत कुछ लिखा है, but I have just given a small part of shloka here. So it says, Sukhasya moolam dharmaha, dharmasya moolam arthaha. So if we want sukha, if we want happiness, moola is dharma. We have to follow ethics or righteous path. But even for protecting dharma, we need prosperity. We need artha. That is economy as well as politics. There were also authors, writers in the modern times. They include in the British period Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Dadabhai Naurodi, Mahadev Govind Ranade, and so on, who have written about Indian economic thought. Particularly famous amongst them was Dadabhai Naurodi. शायद आपको पता होगा कि he was the first Asian member of parliament in House of Commons of UK. He presented a theory called as drain of wealth, where he has stated year by year, he has given table how much money is going from Bharat to Britain. So Britain was literally extracting wealth from us. That's well documented. And he has also stated that actually it is Indian self-confidence and Indian talent that is also getting exploited by Westerners. आपको याद होगा हमने वो एंगस मेडिसिन वाला चार्ट बताया. So this writings collaborated. Again, Dadabhai Naoroji has also understated it. उन्होंने बहुत carefully लिखा है. Otherwise, he would be put in the jail. So based on records only he has written. Then Swami Vivekananda जब अमेरिका गए, American Society Social Science Association में he presented a lecture called as Use of Silver in India, where he has documented about our economic and commercial thought. Then we know Lokmanya Tilak ji propagated Swadeshi movement. He was more a man of action. So he created a Paisa fund, something like a mutual fund of today where people will contribute one paisa to start manufacturing activity in India so that we can have indigenous manufacture and entrepreneurship. Please give your comments and questions in between. They are most welcome. Next famous author was Mahatma Gandhi, who emphasized a lot on simple living and Swadeshi. So he said that the economics which ignores moral values is completely untrue. It cannot sustain. Next major Indian author was Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, जिनका first thesis जो उन्होंने लिखा है, that is titled as Ancient Indian Commerce. He presented it to Columbia University in 1915, and that has well documented commerce in ancient India. उसके 4 parts हैं. That includes industrialization. It includes infrastructure like roads or like marine infrastructure. It includes part on agriculture and also about legal and commercial laws. So it's a very good document. Then the next one is about commercial relations of India and Middle Ages. So this is the relation between India and Europe and also the Arabic world, which again shows the importance of Bharat for them. Because for them, the trading was with the most prosperous economy, that was with India. उनके और भी बहुत सारे writings हैं, but I would particularly go to the last one, which is Buddha and Marx. He presented it in 1956, and where he has said that, remember in 56, Soviet Union was on top. So he says that even if Soviet Union is highly successful, it is nothing better than fattening of pigs. Remember, very harsh words. उस जमाने में Soviet Union was considered one of the most successful countries. In fact, उनका 5-year plan भारत ने copy किया. उसके बाद में communism collapse and Soviet Union collapse. That's a different thing. But in 56, they were a very successful country. Despite that, Dr. Ambedkar said that we don't want path of Marx because human being का complete development जो है, that cannot happen without Dhamma. We need to move on the path of ethics. सिर्फ पैसा कमाने से नहीं होगा. Sustainable happiness can come only with the path of righteousness or Dhamma. So that's why I reject Marx and I'm following path of Buddha, was his conclusion of that essay. And then there are many writings by Dr. Ambedkar which elaborate our Indian economic thought. Next major thinker was Deen Dayal Upadhyay. So he presented integral humanism and he suggested that we should not copy Western conception, whether it is individualism, socialism, communism, capitalism, and so on. We have to move on the path of our ancient culture because our society will find it most suitable because our society always moves on that path. So our government should also adopt these policies. And he suggested Antyodaya and many of today's government policies, whether it is on MSME or whether it is on direct benefit transfer, they are actually based on writings of Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji. He presented what is known as integral approach. So can you see the spiral here? एक spiral circle है. जो सबसे अंदर वाला पॉइंट है 0 पॉइंट, दैट इज इंडिविजुअल. And what our culture says is human beings have a capacity to expand their consciousness. अगर हमें भूख लगी तो वी आर एट ए इंडिविजुअल और ए बॉडीली लेवल, बट नॉट ऑलवेज. देन वी थिंक ऑफ फैमिली, वी थिंक ऑफ सोसाइटी. हमें पता है भारत पाकिस्तान का मैच आ गया तो एवरीबडी थिंक्स ऑफ oneself एज अ नेशन. Sometimes we think about nature. So human beings have this great quality. ऋषिज या seers जो है, they went up to the level of Parmeshti. So we go on expanding our consciousness, and that should be our goal. We don't have to always stick at individual level. And this is the base of our economic and commercial. Now, this is the last table on Indian thinkers. You can see here 6 thinkers I have to trying to summarize. Chanakya, who talked about integration of ethics and economics. Then Dadabhai Nauroji, Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. Ambedkar, Ram Manohar Lohia, जिनका मैंने reference नहीं दिया. He was a socialist leader actually, but he has also talked about dangers of modern capitalism and communism, and we should move on an Indian path. And other authors I think I have mentioned about. Some of the Western authors, particularly E.F. Schumacher, has written about Buddha economics. So what he has said as Buddha economics is essentially Indian economics or Indian financial thought, the Indian business thought, which says that we should always move on a path of least environmental deterioration. We should live with nature, live a simple living, try to have more savings, give back to society, and so on. And unless we look at the overall picture, we should not move on a being a very greedy path, क्योंकि वो unsustainable path है. Okay, in last few minutes, we have taken a kind of summary of Indian economic, business or commercial systems. अभी ये है कि is it only in theory? That's not true. It's very much practiced even today. In our books or in our official policy, we more or less follow the Western system. But society largely follows Indian system. I have given a few examples. One example is our family system. We know Bharat is a culture where family system really grew, and we have a very well laid down rules about the family. And we even now have a strongest family culture in the world. We have a very strong family businesses also. You can see the size of household. It's very high in India and also in Africa and Middle East. And we also have a very strong base of family businesses in India. And in many other parts of world, actually family system is slowly collapsing, particularly in US and Europe and North America. Then we also have a strong community orientation which develops social capital. So our networks are not restricted only to profession. जैसा Western world में है. We have got many social networks. जो social networks could be around caste, they could be around language, they could be around original village. But ऐसा बहुत सारा community orientation है, which we also see in our businesses. Because good part of finances are raised through contacts, then technology transfers happens through community orientation and so on. ये मैं कुछ एग्जांपल्स इसलिए दे रहा हूं कि आपको ये नहीं लगना चाहिए कि this is just in theory. Actually, it's also very much there in practice. Next is about self-employment and entrepreneurial orientation. आपको याद होगा जब हमने इंडियन थॉट वो 2 टेबल्स देखे थे, we said that Indian is a decentralized thought. It is not towards wage employment, but more towards self-employment. Though हमारे ग्रेजुएट्स जॉब ही ढूंढते हैं because it's more of a Western system. But if you look at the society as a whole, we are entrepreneurially oriented. I'm just giving an example. You will be aware that Dharavi is the biggest slum in Asia. It's in Mumbai. वेस्टर्न अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ स्लम ये होता है कि वहां पे लेबरर्स रहते हैं, वो यहाँ वहां के वेज एम्प्लॉयमेंट का काम करेंगे. बट देर आर स्टडीज विच शो दैट धारावी इज एक्चुअली अ वेरी बिग एंटरप्रेन्योरल हब and it has a turnover anywhere between 1,500 crore to 3,500 crores. There are 4,900 industrial units there. So it's not just a place where laborers live. It's a place where a lot of people do their own businesses. Of course, some people work there in those small units, but there are a lot of entrepreneurs there. There is also a study by Vaidyanathan, who is a professor from IIM Bangalore, who says that it is the non-corporate sector which dominates Bharatiya economy. And they have the biggest contribution in national income and also in exports. So this is about the decentralized economy which we have. Now, this is a graph where this is from a international labor organization, wherein you can very clearly see that self-employment rate is the highest in India, as high as 78%, much higher than many other countries, because we are very much decentralized, self-employment oriented economy. Next is about sources of finance. मैंने बोला था कि we are a very much community oriented society. जो sources of finance में देखने को मिलता है, much lesser contribution is of a formal sector. There is a good contribution of cooperative societies, of microfinance, self-help groups, and so on. There are community organizations. A well-documented one is JITO, J-I-T-O. This is a Jain International Trade Organization, which gives loans to their community. ऐसे सारे communities के formal या informal channels हैं. So our sources of financing are also different as compared to Western world. Then हमने ये पहले ही देखा था that we are a saving oriented society. So what is our percentage of saving? Anyone wants to take a guess? कुछ टाइम पहले मैं बताया भी था. Yeah, any guesses? Kothai ji has rightly answered. It is 30%. Remember, it's not interest rate. This is gross domestic saving to gross domestic product. So our country is one of the unique countries where individual saving rate is very high. What is the saving rate of USA? Any idea? यूएस का सेविंग रेट कितना है, कोई आइडिया है? मैंने थोड़ा सा हिंट तो आपको दे ही दिया था कि इंडिया हैज अ वेरी हाई सेविंग रेट. सो व्हाट्स द सेविंग रेट इन यूएस? रिमेंबर, उनका पर कैपिटा इनकम काफी हाई है. इट्स ऑलमोस्ट 10 times our per capita income, but their saving rate is just around 1%. So individuals over there hardly save. They mostly live on debt. Incomes are high, but expenditure is even higher. That's a Western culture. Indian culture केवल हमारे ग्रंथों में नहीं लिखा है. Even in our practice, it's quite a saving oriented culture. ऐसे बहुत examples दिए जा सकते हैं. There was a question earlier ki, how will we get jobs? So see, we have to understand our society, our systems. Then accordingly adopt the policies both in government as well as by companies. That will make our economy stronger. And as researchers, of course, this is a good area for study for us. Next is about remittances. So in last financial year, 22-23, I mean 22-23, it was 100 billion. 23-24, remittances to India became 120 billion. And this table tells you about remittances all over the world. You will be aware that India leads it much, much ahead of China. In fact, Chinese remittances are only 70 and Indian remittances have touched 120 now. This is because Indians have a family kind of structure and Indians are able to save. So they work abroad, save and send back money to India, which is the highest in the world. Remember, this strength is because of our culture. That's why we get good amount of forex resources. And what is more interesting is this money comes especially when there is a problem. If there is a problem in the world, like war, actually foreign money goes out. So जो FDI या foreign institutional investors का money होता है, FDI, it goes out. But Indians abroad send in more money. So it cushions our foreign exchange position. So this is again a strength of our culture. Then we know that our stock markets have highest number of shareholders in the world, largest number of transactions and highest number of listed companies. See, GDP में हम लोग US से बहुत पीछे है, even now, though we are in number 3 now. But we have the highest number because ours is a decentralized society. Then there are some success stories like defense or MSME. I've read about it, so I don't go. Yeah. So more or less we are done. Any questions, comments from anyone? Okay. So योगी अरविंद जी, महर्षि अरविंद को आप जानते होंगे. In 1915, remember even before First World War, उन्होंने एक भविष्यवाणी की थी कि इंडिया shall rise on the ruins of the Western world. In those days, he was laughed at because before First World War, Western powers were so powerful and India was a subdued country. But he said that 125 years later, India will come back on its own. और ऐसे शुभ चिन्ह हमें देखने को मिल रहे हैं कि भारत is once again becoming stronger. We are taking back our position as a developed nation, as a strong nation, as a Vishwaguru and so on. And I hope that this Bhavishwani will come true as academicians will do our own contributions in research and teaching, and then industry, government, we sab kar rahe hain. These are some of the references. We have written one chapter on indigenous Indian management, which you can see here. And we also teach a course on Indian business and financial models in India, especially in IIT Bombay. Especially the latter part था वो basically based on that research was there. These are some more Indian and also foreign references. So yeah, with this I'm more or less done. You can ask your questions or please feel free to give your comments. I'll share this PPT with you. Please feel free to get in touch with me. And that has my phone number as well as my email ID. So with this, I'll stop. Thanks for very good interaction from all of you. And 3 hours session, I know for teachers is boring, but you made it interesting with interaction. Namaste. I have shared my email ID as well as phone, so you can keep in touch.